Guy, I swear, YouTube don't pay me enough for this, man. So as we were saying before, that the entire goal of wokeness per se, or the ideology, is to basically become a cultural hegemony. A cultural hegemony means that it is the only dominating culture in that space, and it cannot be challenged at all. So if it means that certain companies have to fail in order for them to actually prop up this woke agenda, then so be it. Wokeness has nothing to do whatsoever with meritocracy. Speaking of meritocracy, right? There's this story about Marvel Rivals that just blew up, saying that, Marvel Rivals is laying off people amidst explosive success. That's what the game journals were actually leading with. But then when you actually look into the story, you get to understand that no, that's not exactly what is happening, because the journals were saying that the game director is being fired, the people are being laid off. Oh my god, what is happening? So much for Marvel Rivals, you know what I mean? What happened was NetEase's branch in Seattle was closed down, and it comprised of roughly about maybe 6 people. That's what we actually found out. Access Media is over here blowing this thing out of proportion, making it seem as if it's actually a big deal when it actually isn't. And even NetEase themselves had to issue a statement basically saying that we recently made the difficult decision to adjust Marvel Rivals development team structure for organizational reasons and to optimize development efficiency for the game. This resulted in a reduction of a design team based in Seattle that is part of a larger global design function in support of Marvel Rivals. We appreciate the hard work and dedication of those affected and will be treating them confidentially and respectfully, with recognition for their individual contribution. We want to reassure our fan base that the core development team for Marvel Rivals, which continues to be led by lead producer Wu and game creative director Shen in China, remains fully committed to delivering an exceptional experience. We are investing more, not less, into the evolution and growth of this game. We're excited to deliver new superhero characters, maps, features, and content to ensure an engaging live service experience for our worldwide player base. You guys may ask yourself, why do journalists actually do this? Why does it seem as if they are always against the player? They are always against gamer culture. What is it about them? Because if you notice, this is not the first time that something like this has actually happened before. There's a report that actually came out back in 2012 that said that gamers who play first-person shooters are likely to have really good marksman skills in real life. So your Access Media, of course, took that story, ran with it, and started promoting all kinds of narratives. And then later, the people that actually came up with the study had to redact it because, it was inconsistent, it wasn't really correct. And of course, Access Media was blamed for misrepresenting their fan base and all those things. And then, of course, my favorite one was when it was back in 2012 during Mass Effect 3, whereby gamers were basically complaining, talking about the fact that, like, dude, Mass Effect 3 had such inconsistent endings. That ending was horrible. It was just, what the hell was BioWare thinking? And then, of course, your Access Media had to come and shield for these companies and be like, you know what, you gamers are just throwing things out of proportion, man. Get off your high horses. Everything is fine, Like, for some reason, it always seems like they're against the gamers. It's like, their very line of work has to do with gaming, and they do not embody a single iota of gaming culture whatsoever, And then, of course, there's another story whereby this one was back during Cyberpunk 2027, during its marketing phases and stages, whereby CD Projekt had released this poster, this mixed-up poster, whereby they were showing like this transgender character, and they were basically trying to say she's being commodified by industries and businesses, blah, 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 blah. Your Access Media saw that, and they just spun their own narrative around the entire thing and were like, oh my god, CD Projekt Red is dehumanizing trans individuals. Oh my god, such trans hatred. They do this all the time. But then you ask yourself, why are you guys doing this? It is very simple. The reason why Access Media does this, it goes back to what I was telling you guys before, that Access Media's origins, they come from the woke indoctrination camps, which we call universities. That's where Access Media gets their cream of the crop from. The universities basically teach them that politics comes first, art comes second. And that's the mentality that they run with when they actually enter the workforce. So when they enter the workforce and it seems as if they don't have the gamer's best interests at heart, it's because they actually don't. The way they were taught in school, they have to put politics first before integrity or before art. That's what they were taught. So that's why they will always be at odds when it comes to gamers and stuff like that. So in all honesty, you guys shouldn't be surprised when you come across this. This is basically the woke industrial complex in its full glory. And the other thing that you guys need to understand is that these woke gaming journalist publications, they need to do this. They need to run interference because that's how woke culture works, right? They need to shame these companies, and by so doing, they hope to shame them into submission or subjugation, if you will, because they hope that next time, since they are getting all this bad press, they will actually fix up their image and basically basically do what these companies want, because if you're going against the woke media and stuff like that, you're basically a threat. Like I said before, that wokeness desires itself to be a cultural hegemony. So if you're a company basically going against the tide, you're basically a threat to them. So in order to make sure that you conform, they have to shame you, they have to blow things out of proportion that don't exist in order to control and shape narratives so that people see you in a bad light. So in other words, classic reputation destruction. It's part of their playbook anyway. So I'm not surprised that they're actually pulling stuff like this. You guys should expect it at this point. And yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, that's just how the cookie crumbles. And the other thing is, I wish I can say that we're in a position where wokeness is basically dying out, and things are going to return to normal, and these publications like your Kotakus and whatnot are going to get shut down and stuff like that. Since we have Trump signing executive orders and, taking out these DEI and all that stuff, I wish I could say that we are in a position whereby things are actually starting to look better for gaming as a whole. But unfortunately, I don't think that's the case, because when we're talking about wokeness per se, it doesn't just have to do with the fact that there are DEI mandates that companies have to follow that have been signed quietly into law and things like that. There are so many pieces to the puzzle when it comes to the woke industrial complex, and culture is also a huge part of that. Like, for example, there's this game Avowed that just came out, right? And of course, your access media is over here pretending as if it's the best thing since sliced bread, and that you see, guys, YouTube don't pay me enough for this.